I'm Catherine Dow. It's Wednesday, July 23rd. Today, a trade turning point.
I think our kids and grandkids are going to look back at this time as an inflection point.
Canada's premiers take an elbows-up approach as punishing American trade tariffs draw near. Also today, a learning moment.
There's always room to do better.
How a government minister is turning a hot mic misstep into better accessibility services for Manitobans. Plus, odes to Ozzy.
Ozzy saved my life when I was 14.
Winnipeg heavy metal fans pay tribute to the late Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Marilee is away. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew and the rest of Canada's premiers have wrapped up 3 days of talks in Ontario, just ahead of the August 1st deadline for American tariffs to take effect. And the Team Canada elbows up mentality seems to be the approach. Join me now to share more is CTV's Taylor Brock. So Taylor, why is this meeting so important?
Well, it's all about the timing, Catherine. There's an urgency among Kinew and other premiers to hammer out trade deals before August 1st. That's the deadline Trump has set to raise tariffs on some Canadian goods to 35%. The premiers want deals on specific sectors like vehicles, steel and aluminum, and lumber. Prime Minister Mark Carney joined the premiers in Huntsville, Ontario yesterday. One concern is that Americans are signaling they won't start renegotiating the Canada-US-Mexico agreement on trade until next year. So the hope is to get some short-term trade deals done now, then spend more time renegotiating the Canada-US free trade agreement to make sure Canada gets the best possible deal.
I think it's really important for Canada to get a good deal rather than rushing to take any deal, including one that might harm us in the long term. I think our kids and grandkids are going to look back at this time as an inflection point where we had the opportunity to stand up for our nation's independence and for our economic self-sufficiency. And I think it's really, really amazing to see how the premiers are united around building this country up. And the Prime Minister is right there on the same page.
So Taylor, what is the local business community saying about all this?
Well, Catherine, CTV News spoke with the Manitoba Chambers of Commerce today. The MCC says it agrees with Kinew and the approach being taken by premiers. The MCC says local industries hit hardest by the tariffs are manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, and agriculture. President Chuck Davidson tells CTV News he's seeing an encouraging increase in trade to new international partners, reducing Manitoba's reliance on trade with the United States. He says Manitoba can mitigate the harm from U.S. tariffs by trading more with other provinces and other countries.
We are picking up in terms of exports to other countries, which is exactly what we've talked about as well, is how do we lessen our reliance on the U.S., how do we do more trade within our own country, and how do we look at some of those new export partners that we can do business with.
Davidson adds that over the past 6 months, the uncertainty surrounding Trump's tariffs means many local businesses are hesitant to make large investments and are hiring fewer workers.
All right, thanks for that, Taylor. Manitoba Public Insurance says vehicle theft is costing $40 million a year in damage and total replacement costs. The Crown Auto Insurance Corporation says it insures more than 950,000 vehicles, and an average of 4,000 are reported as stolen every year. Vice President and Chief Claims Officer John Bowering says the net cost to Manitobans for stolen vehicles will continue to climb as the cost of vehicles and repairs goes up. With July being Vehicle Theft Prevention Month, people are being reminded to take steps like parking in well-lit areas, never leaving vehicles running unattended, and putting valuables in the trunk where they're not visible. A 20-year-old man from Osbourne is dead after a water truck crashed into the back of a gravel truck. It happened yesterday morning on the Trans-Canada Highway between Brandon and Carberry. RCMP say a gravel truck had turned east onto the highway and was getting up to speed, and a water truck traveling east then crashed into the back of the gravel truck. A 20-year-old passenger in the water truck died at the scene. The drivers of both vehicles weren't seriously injured. Everyone was wearing their seatbelts. RCMP continued to investigate. A Manitoba cabinet minister who criticized a sign language interpreter says she's focused on doing better and improving services for people with disabilities. At a news conference today, Accessibility Minister Nahani Fontaine announced more than $800,000, That's for groups that help reduce barriers for people with disabilities. Fontaine came under fire over comments she made at an event last month. She told a staff member that she was thrown off by a sign language interpreter. Fontaine has repeatedly apologized for her remarks. Today, she says she's making changes to increase accessibility within government.
Even though you think and believe that you're doing good, that you're doing a good job, there's always room to do better. And certainly, you know, this experience, like the way that I've always lived my life, is that when I have these missteps or these mistakes or these moments, I always try to find the teaching and the lessons in it, and then how to move better or how to move forward in a better way, how to do better.
Nahani Fontaine says her department will have sign language interpreters at all public events, and the government will hire 2 dedicated interpreters to support all departments. She also says better enforcement is on the way to crack down on businesses who fail to meet provincial accessibility standards. 10 people are facing charges after RCMP searched a home in Thompson. Mounties say the raid happened last Wednesday at a home on Brandon Crescent. They allegedly seized a handgun, $20,000 in cash, cell phones, cocaine, and other substances that are still undergoing testing. 4 women and 6 men were arrested at the scene, ranging in age from 21 to 42. 4 were from Thompson, and 2 others were from Cross Lake and Lac Brochet. The rest were from different regions in Ontario. They are all facing various drug and firearm offenses. Dozens of Manitoba students are back in the classroom this week for a unique summer camp.
You're going to make an incision all the way down the right side.
Around 100 grade 6 to 12 students are taking part in the Biomedical Youth Program on the University of Manitoba's Bannatyne campus. Student volunteers are leading campers through a number of interactive sessions, including a heart dissection, fingerprint analysis, DNA extraction, and an exploration of traditional Indigenous medicines.
It's like sort of like medical and science together. It's really cool.
It's not just a textbook subject. It's really about immersing them in some activities which really excite them. Kids love to sort of play around with things, and we get to do a lot of that here.
The goal is to introduce young Manitobans to biomedical and health sciences careers and what each involves so that they can make informed choices on their future careers. The camp is offered free of charge to students who are interested in science. CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady joins us now with the first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. Smoke-wise, Colleen, I feel like maybe it was a bit better today, but you probably have a better idea than I do.
Well, this was very interesting, actually, because as we anticipated, we were going to be very smoky across southern Manitoba today. As it turns out, it wasn't all that bad. Having said that, Environment Canada did put southern Manitoba, along with central and most of the north, under an air quality alert. That was renewed very early this morning, then at about 12:15. This happened. They were all called off with the exception of the Flin Flon area and over the border into northwestern Ontario. Then late this afternoon, the southwest corner of the province was pushed under a special air quality statement. So not an outright warning, but still an air quality alert. So Turns out things weren't all that bad today in Winnipeg, relatively speaking. It could get a little hazy out there in the city and other parts of the province. I'll get into more details coming up. But for now, let's take a look through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Oh, we had a guest there for a moment, Catherine. Cloudy. Oh, he's back. 24 degrees. Little hazy out there with the humidex. It feels like 27. Light winds out of the west-southwest. The pressure's dropping and the humidity is 50%. Out on the roads on Wednesday, a live look just west of Polo Park. At Portage Avenue, east and westbound, traffic moving well there.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Music fans in Winnipeg are paying tribute today to a man who many called the godfather of heavy metal. Ozzy Osbourne, former singer for Black Sabbath, a solo artist in his own right, and a reality TV star, died yesterday at the age of 76.
Ozzy saved my life when I was 14.
Osbourne's death was sad news for David McLean. When he was a teenager, he had tickets for Ozzy's Winnipeg concert. But sadly, his mother died the morning of the concert. McLean was so grief-stricken he wasn't going to go until his uncle convinced him otherwise.
I went to the Ozzy Osbourne concert with my friends that night, and he saved my life. Because it was like, you know, and Ozzy will never know that he saved a 14-year-old kid's life. But yeah, it's a crazy story because it's such a bittersweet concert, you know. Mama, I'm Coming Home didn't ever sound so good.
Still ahead, more Winnipeggers remember Ozzy Osbourne. Danton Unger speaks with local heavy metal fans and record stores about the impact the Prince of Darkness had on the Winnipeg music scene. That story is coming up next on CTV News at 6. Gimli is marking a monumental day in its history. On July 23, 1983, an Air Canada plane ran out of fuel. The pilots were able to glide it to a safe landing on a decommissioned runway in the community. Gimli Glider Day is commemorating that event with special guests at an exhibit sharing the story and artifacts from that day. It was determined that the near disaster was the result of fuel being measured in pounds instead of kilograms. More than a dozen food processors in Manitoba are getting the opportunity to expand their operations thanks to a funding boost from the government.
The funding helps them buy equipment and invest in new technologies. We're here to help them grow and be competitive as we find new and emerging markets around the world.
That's Agriculture Minister Ron Kostishin, who says the federal and provincial governments are putting forward a combined $6 million for 19 different companies. He made the announcement at the Maple Leaf plant in Brandon, one of the recipients of the funding. Aside from Maple Leaf, some smaller family-run food processors in places like Altona, Blumenort, and Eli will be getting a share of the money as well. Manitoba wildfires are affecting an upcoming popular Winnipeg Summer Festival. That story is coming up next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Brett Kissel.
Colleen Brady has your spotlight today, and it's time to pull out your popcorn and your beach chairs.
That's right, Catherine. The Gimli International Film Festival starts today.
The way you dress up, it makes the people so happy.
That was a clip from Becoming Ruby, one of the local films screening at the festival. Attendees can also expect pop culture favorites, Icelandic films, and other works from around the world. The 5-day event runs today through Sunday. Visit gimlifilm.com for more information.
Meanwhile, get ready for the ultimate summer playground.
That's right. It's time for Game Fest Winnipeg Summer Edition, and it's taking over the Forks this weekend. Enjoy all kinds of games, from giant inflatables to live music, local artists, and much more. There'll be non-stop games for the whole family. There's also a pop-up market, circus, and magic shows, and 14 food trucks. Event organizers want to bring back the joy of play and make it accessible for all Winnipeg families.
Not everyone can afford to go to Hawaii or to Disneyland, so we're hoping to bring a little bit of fun to Winnipeg. You know, Winnipeg's a great city and we deserve great things.
Game Fest is at the CN stage at the Forks from Friday to Sunday. For tickets and more information, go to gamefest.com.
I like that. Winnipeg is a great city and we do deserve great things.
We sure do.
Good affirmation.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Manitoba's wildfire situation sadly is affecting one of Winnipeg's most popular summer festivals.
Unfortunately, that's right, Catherine. Folklorama has announced the First Nations Pavilion will no longer be part of this year's lineup. Organizers with Nimu Egwa, the title sponsor, say while it was a difficult decision, they need to focus their efforts on supporting those who have been displaced. The nonprofit works to support children in care, foster parents, low-income families, and others. As a result, the Brazilian Pavilion will be moved from week 1 to week 2. Folklorama runs August 3rd to 16th.
That is understandable. Hopefully we will have them back next year, right?
We sure will. We sure do.
All right. Thanks for that, Colleen.
You're welcome. And those midweek blues with MasterChef at 7, followed by Match Game, and cap off the night with Battle of the Generations at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV. A live look out onto McPhillip Street. Traffic moving smoothly in that part of the city. No crashes, no stalls to relay. Cloudy, a little hazy out there. It's warm, 24 degrees with the Humidex. It feels like 27.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon. CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady has your Skywatch evening forecast. Colleen, I stepped outside yesterday. I thought the smoke was very bad. This morning, I feel like it's a noticeable improvement.
Yes, and we were anticipating just the opposite. Environment Canada warning us yesterday that most of the province was going to be quite smoky today. In fact, they took the added step of putting southern Manitoba under an air quality warning last night. So by the time we woke up this morning, all of southern Manitoba, central parts of the province, and most of the north, with the exception of the most northerly parts of Manitoba, all under an air quality warning, and that lasted for several hours. And then just after the noon hour, Environment Canada called them all down, with the exception of the air quality warning that was kept in effect around the Flin Flon area, closer to those fires in those communities. Over the border into northwestern Ontario, those areas still remain under an air quality warning tonight. Air quality is expected to remain poor there right through to the end of the week. Then just after 3:30 this afternoon, Environment Canada said, hold on, we better issue a special air quality statement for the southwest corner of the province. Now, Brandon is just outside of the alert zone, but other areas like Deloraine, Melita, Verdun, all under it. Fine particulate matter was detected, and now Environment Canada feels that smoke should clear out or start to improve dramatically. At least the smoke at the surface should start to improve dramatically by tomorrow evening. So you'll be dealing with several more hours of some smoke there, but just not quite as strong as was anticipated. So as we go throughout the next few hours, while it may not be smoky in your community like Winnipeg tonight, it could be hazy here in the city and in other parts of the province. Otherwise, you can see not much happening sky condition-wise. No precipitation in sight for areas that need it, where wildfires continue to burn further to the north, off to the east as well. But by tomorrow afternoon, there is the chance of showers popping up. Then we clear right out as we head overnight and into Friday. And temperatures are going to start to heat right up, too, here in the south, back up to more of those hotter summertime temperatures, close to 30. By Friday, heading into the noon hour, though, rain starts to cross the north, entering the province from the northwest. For tonight here in the southeast, for Winnipeg, 15 degrees, our low, partly cloudy, hazy. Winds light out of the north at 10 kilometers an hour. Those winds will shift slightly overnight, but will remain light. West winds tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, hazy again with a high of 25 degrees. The UV index for tomorrow, Thursday already, is 7 or high for the city of Winnipeg. And this is what I'm talking about, folks. A hot high of 30 degrees by Friday. Friday, sunny. No surprise there's a risk of thunderstorms. Hot on the weekend, 29 under a mix of sun and clouds Saturday. Showers likely Sunday, 26, and then mid-20s to start off the week next week under a mix of sun and cloud. Now, this is a really cool photo. Derek took this photo. You can see the skyline there from the city entering into Winnipeg. Great shot there. And this next one, take a look at the lack of water. This is the Assiniboine River out at Shellmouth, Manitoba. And Terry is asking, where is the river? Good question. Send us your pics to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. And on that, a lack of rain and hot conditions is having a massive impact on farmers here in Manitoba. As we showed you last night on CTV News at 6, communities are now declaring states of emergency as crops are being heavily impacted. CTV's Alex Karpa shows you what impact this could have on consumers.
This corn should be considerably higher than this.
Lyle Thorgilson has not seen his fields this bad in years. Drought conditions in Manitoba are severely impacting his crops.
You can see the yellowing of the plant here and stuff. That's drought stress.
For perspective, this is what Thorgilson's cornfield looked like in 2023. And this is what it looks like now. Significant damage done due to little rain.
It's probably one of the tougher crops, and there's still maybe hope that we can get some tonnage out of it for feed for the cattle, but yeah, it's stunted for sure.
From a distance, this oat field looks like it's thriving, but in reality, as you could see, it's not. In parts of this field, the oat is barely growing, a problem that many farmers are dealing with right across the province. 2 rural municipalities in the province declared states of emergency last week due to the agricultural disaster.
It's not good, and we need a lot of rain.
It's not just farmers in Manitoba hurting, so too are many in Saskatchewan, with communities in that province also declaring states of emergencies. Virgil Johnson says it's not just people who will be affected, but livestock too.
We're not sure how far-reaching these conditions are, and where the local producers are going to be able to source feed to carry them through the winter to maintain the herds they have.
In addition to the drought, smoke from wildfires could gravely impact food products moving forward, but one expert says it's too early to tell how this will affect consumers at the grocery store.
Smoke could actually impact the quality of grains at harvest, and that could also impact the revenues of farmers in the end, and they could get less money for their product.
We've had to put more money into these crops than usual.
As for Thorgilson, he is praying more rain falls so he can salvage some of his crop. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Lundar, Manitoba.
I think we're all hoping for rain at this point. I'm sending a wish to Mother Nature. Hopefully she's listening to us, Colleen.
There's a bit in the forecast, not much though.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll try. Keep thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, CTV Nationalist Sandy Ronaldo starts now, and we'll see you back here for CTV News at 6.